Now, in the past 2 hours, we kind of try to introduce you to this some advanced data exploring skill. Now, in this hour, I'll try to give you some real example that we are using this clustering and dimension reduction in the real case, right? Originally, I prepared for notebook, but I think we can only do three of them. The first thing I would like to go through with you guys is called I think I don't have time to do do it in RStudio, so I directly open the HTML file first. So this AB, the B case is actually the airline customer segment. Okay, so so the data is here in data airline customers, airline cluster. That's CSV. Okay, as you can see that they are. This is actually when you go to airline, you sometimes want you to sign up as their members, right? Okay, and they will give you a card, so you can kind of like accumulate your mileage, and you can like use this mileage to like upgrade or maybe exchange for some benefit, right? You know that, right? You can use this airline member. When you join the airline member, you can start to accumulate your mileage, and you can use your mileage to like upgrade or something like that. Okay, so this data is actually customer data, and when we read it in, we will see when we read in the data, we will see like 4,000 customers. Okay, and for each of the customer, there are a few data, right? The balance is actually the mileage you accumulate, right? Okay. The reason that they call balance is that if you are a frequent flyer, you will sometimes use your point to like upgrade or do something, right? Or rent a car or like take a gift, something like that. Okay, so this is the balance of the first customer, second customer, right? Okay, and then actually the explanation of variable are here. Is the mileage remain, right? Regular mileage remain, and actually this airline is kind of strange. It kind of have two types of mileage, right? This is the regular mileage, and there is a high class mileage. I don't really know exactly what that is, but maybe it worth more, right? This high class, maybe one high class mileage is when you fly with the business class, then you were like kind of like accumulate your high class mileage, right? So this first two columns is actually the balance of your remaining mileage, the mileage that you accumulate. Okay, and The next 4 variable is actually the behavior of this customer in the past 12 months. Okay, in the 12th month, these 4 variable are this customer in the past 12 months. Okay, so this one bonus mileage is this is not the fly mileage, right? Well, actually, you are 2 ways to earn your mileage. The first way is actually fly, right? You fly, you get the mileage, okay? And usually the airline will align with some traveling business. For example, like car rental company. For example, like hotel, right? Some airline will align, will do a co-marketing with car rental and with hotel, right? So if you live in a hotel, you can also earn some mileage. When you rent a car, you can also earn some mileage, right? So this variable is the mileage that you earn from this non-fly transactions. Okay? So it's not the actual fly mileage, it's the mileage that you earn from car rental, from hotel, kind of like that. And this is the number of transactions in the past 12 months. Okay? So these 2 things, they are not actually fly. They are actually just non-fly transactions. For example, and you also earn mileage, right? Okay, so the number of time you do this non-fly transaction and the mileage that you accumulate, that you earn in the last year, okay? And this is actual the fly mileage and fly transaction. This is the number of time you fly in this airline, okay, number of fly, and also the mileage obtained, okay, in the actual fly. So these 4 variables are the number of times, so fly and non-fly transaction, and also the mileage you earn in the fly and non-fly transaction, okay, in the past 12 months, okay? And this is the days things enroll, so this is kind of like, and if you take a look at the summary, you can see that the first, let's take a look at the first quarter, like about because we have a total of how many, 4,000, right? So the first quarter is the first 1,000 customer, right? They have about like this is the days, right? So it's already some of the customer they have been fly with our airline for like 8,296 days. This is like 25 years already, right? Okay, 20 some years, right? And some members are actually new members, they just enrolled, right? Okay, so this is their seniority, I should say so. And as you can see that the number of transactions is like less than 100, right? Because in 12 months, actually in average, every member just fly 1.37 times, but there's a very frequent flyer, it fly 53 times during a year, right? And this is the mileage, right? Okay. So when we want to do a clustering, because we want to like kind of like group the members' behavior, right? So when we want to use all of this variable to do a clustering, scaling is very important, isn't it? Right? Otherwise, when you map this variable into the space, this variable tend to dominate the space, right? And the other variable become useless, isn't it? Right? So scaling is very important in this case. Okay, right? So so we first of all we want to do a standardization, right? Okay, so we can scale, so we can as I tell you that for those who already learned statistics, it's kind of like standardization. You would rescale a variable so that its mean becomes 0, its standard deviation become 1, right? Okay, so here we actually, if we do a scale, and then the mean of every variable will become 0, and the standard deviation will become 1. And in this way, when we do the clustering, every variable would have the same significance. Okay? So this is a kind of way to... So our original data is in data frame A, and then we normalize it, we scale it, right? So I'll put it called AN, okay? And I, as you can see that if I apply AN to this data frame, I'll see that their average all become 0, and their standard deviation all become 1. Okay, so this AN is the standardized, is the data after standardization. Okay, so again, we want to do hierarchical clustering, right? So we calculate distance, we code this to do the hierarchical, and we can plot, and then after plot, we just cut it into 5 groups. Okay, so you can plot it into 6 groups, 7 groups. This is kind of like a try and error type of things. Okay, I always think that there is no standard way to find the best, the optimized number of groups. Okay, you just try and error. Okay, so let's say that we chop them into 5 groups. Okay, as I told you that you don't really need, in practice, you don't really need to plot the scalar plot. Okay, you simply, after you have this HC, you simply like cut it into the 5 groups. Okay, and then you can do a table on the group. So you can see the so the group the grouping is keep in this KG vector, right? As you can see that we have this is the group size. Okay, you do a table on KG because I put this in KG, right? So this KG vector is actually the group vector, which specify how this 4,000 members are divided into 5 groups. Okay. Now, after we do this, clustering, the next thing we want to do is we want to observe the characteristic of each group, right? So one way to observe them is kind of like I split the original data by this group variable, and then I do a column means, right? So that this is the average balance of the first group. This is the average balance of the second group, right? And then you can compare this number so you can see the difference between each group, isn't it? Right? But if you want to visualize this difference, is kind of quite difficult because the scales are very different, right? So if I try to plot them into kind of like a bar plot, then because some of the numbers are like 100 of thousands, and some of the numbers just like below 20 or less than 1, right? If I plot them directly in the original scale, then this plot will be like dominated by the large scale, and the small scale you can barely see them, right? Isn't it? Right? So that's another advantage when we use these standardized things. Okay, so you can standardize them and then apply column mean, and this is just to round it by 2 decimal point. Okay, and then you can plot the bar plot. Okay, because this is standardized, right? So 0 is the average. Okay, I told you that this AN is the standardized variable value, right? And standardized value, the 0 is the average. Okay, and every color is actually a variable name, right? Isn't it? Okay, so you simply do you use AN and split them by kg and calculate their column means, right? And then you can plot a bar plot. Okay, so you have like 7 variables in 7 colors. Okay, and in this plot, because they are standardized, so 0 means average, right? So for example, in this group, every variable is below average. Okay, this is group 5, right? Every variable, they are like kind of like very small. Okay, so this to be like a new customer, right? A new customer. So every things are below average. Okay, and this group is everything is below average, but they are very senior, right? The advantage of using standardization is that whatever the bar is above 0, it means that it is above average. Okay, so this group, they do not have they do not fly too frequently. They do not have too many activity in the last. This 4 column is like the recent activity, right? the fly and non-fly activity. So they are low, and the balance is low, right? So it means that what is this group? Their day sinks in row is actually the highest among all of the 5 groups, right? So these are the all member, right? That is not active. This is non-active all member, isn't it? Right? See, because you standardize and do this comparison, so you can see that the characteristic of this group is actually they have a very large day sinks in row, which means that but they do not have too many activity, right? And they are like kind of low balance, okay? So which means that these are the all member that do not fly recently, isn't it? Right? Okay. And how about this group? Anyone want to from this observation, are they new member, or are they are quite new, right? Because their seniority is actually the lowest, right? So this is the young member, right? And it's kind of strange, right? Because their fly mileage and fly transaction, they are actually below average, but their bonus mile and bonus transaction are actually above average, right? So what is this type of member? Can anyone want to try? These are the new member who earn their mileage from non-fly activities. In a sense, it might imply that this new member are not enrolled into this program by flying, but they go to our aligned hotel or go to our aligned car rental and earned their mileage and transaction, isn't it? Right? Okay? So they are using our alliance hotel partner and car rental partner, but they do not fly from us. So if you are a marketer, what do you want to do with them? You should not ignore them, right? Because the reason that you want to align with this hotel and car rental companies, because they are travelers, right? These people are travelers. You can see that their number of transactions is very high. Okay? So they do a car rental very often. They do a hotel very often, right? So they fly, but they do not fly on our airline, right? We have acquired them into our member, right? But they do not fly in our airline. They fly the other airline, but they stay in our aligned hotel and rental company. So what should we do? We should, if you want to send them, maybe you maybe want to encourage them to use this mileage, or maybe you can give them some coupon or something like that, right? They already become our member, but they are not flying in our airline. So you can design a campaign for them, right? A different type of airline promotion for them, right? Okay. How about this group? What is the characteristic of this group? They are, in compared to this group, it's similar, right? They do not fly much, right? They use a lot of the bonus mileage, right? Okay, and their balance is very high, but they do not use it, right? So if you are marketer, what do you want to do with them? Anyone? They have a lot of mileage, right? So you basically can encourage them to use this mileage to fly in our airline, isn't it? Right? Okay? So you tell them that I can and actually, if you take a look at here, they have been our member for a long time already, right? Okay, so they accumulate a lot of mileage, but they do not use this mileage to exchange for anything, right? So your pitch to them should be, use your mileage. I will give you a better program, so you can upgrade, or you can fly our airline with a better mileage exchange rate, right? Okay, so that would kind of pull them back and try to enhance their right. And how about this group? Say.
They are the new customer that they have a lot of flight within the past 12 months, so we should try to maintain them.
You can see that this yellow bar is very high, right? What is this yellow bar? High class, right? So what type of customers is? Yeah, they are business flyer, right? And they are very loyal to our airline, isn't it? Right? So this is kind of the customer that you want to retain, right? You want to give them a lot of care, right? Give them VIP, give them whatever. You try whatever you can, try to retain them, isn't it? Right? So as you can see that, after we do the clustering, we can see the different characteristic of different customer group. Okay? And you can actually design a different promotion plan for them, right? That is the basic spirit of clustering, okay? Because they have similar preference, similar behavior, so you can design a very specific marketing campaign to address their need, to meet their preference, right? Okay? It's easier to like, for example, if you simply group them by age, but different age, people can have different behavior, right? Isn't it? Right? It's not easy for you to design campaign, right? But when you cluster your customer into according to their behavior and preference, make you easier to leverage that, right? Okay. Usually, if I have more time, I would have you do some group discussion, and I would ask you to like, based on the characteristic, I want you to pick a name for each of the 5 groups, okay? And I want you to design a marketing strategy for each of the group, okay? Or maybe you can like, in the logic of our midterm, okay? If you are a marketing manager of this airline, which group do you want to focus first, right? And what is your strategy? What is your campaign design to approach it, right? Okay, so that's how clustering is useful in the business condition. Okay. Now, because next week you already want to do the midterm, right? So this week I do not give you the assignment to do this discussion, but actually, if you have time, I will encourage you to like try to answer this question, right? Try to do some discussion within your group. It will be very helpful, right? It will be very helpful. Okay. Okay. And if possible, you can apply the same logic in your midterm. Okay. And now we have only like 10 minutes left, so I will show you the last notebook very quickly. Okay. Okay, so this is dimension reduction. Okay, and again, clustering and dimension reduction, because they have a very long history, so there are a lot of different ways to do dimension reduction and do the clustering, right? So basically, I already told you how to do the dimension reduction in PCA, right? Okay, and MDS is another type of dimension reduction, but it's kind of quite difficult. So maybe I would just focus on PCA. Okay. Now let's look at the data first. Okay. This is actually marketing survey data. Okay. You go to the street, right, and do a survey, right? Do a marketing survey, and this is different brand, right? Starbucks, 85C. You know this cafe? This is the chain cafe store in Taiwan. Used to be very famous, but it's not famous now. Then it's an international brand, right? Okay. Starbucks, right? One cafe, and this ideal, I mean, I think it's its own brand, but they don't want to use their name, right? So just say ideal. Okay, so when they do the survey, they ask a lot of consumer, and they want them to rate each of the brand in so many different aspects, right? For example, variety, credibility, professional, awareness, brand, image, product, style, variant, right? So this data is actually, I believe it's already do a lot of survey. For example, they survey like 500 consumers, and then they already average the numbers, right? So every brand has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 aspect, and this data score, right? And actually, you can use let's jump to let's skip the MDS, which is the first and second section, because it's actually quite complicated, and the result it produces actually, as you can see here, right? The result is basically the same as what we do with PCA. So I simply told you how to do it in PCA, right? See that actually dimension reduction is actually very easy when you do it in R, okay? Basically, you just call PCA function, right? And you give it the data, right? The cafe data is this data frame, okay? Just give it the data. And then I told you that I do not want to plot it with PCA because it's very ugly. So we use this tool to help us make this plot. Okay? So that we have 8 dimension. So I'm compressing this 8 dimension into the 2-dimensional space. Okay? And every red dot is actually a brand, right? Okay? And every blue arrow is one of the variable of our interest. Okay? So as you can see in this chart, right? You can see a lot of things, right? So, and first of all, you can see that Starbucks and Ideal, they are in, because this is customer survey, right? So this is kind of like customers' perception about each of the brand, right? So these 2 brands are actually quite unique, right? Starbucks is very high in awareness and image, okay? And this Ideal, they are good in professional, credibility, product, and style, isn't it, right? These 3 brands, they actually, especially 85C, they are good in brand and variety. Okay? So in a PCA, you can actually compare yourself with your competitor in this 8-dimensional space. Okay? And as I say that when they compress the 8 dimension into 2 dimension, there will be some information loss. But in this case, the information loss is very minimal. As you can see that, dimension 1 is 63%, and here is 30%. So all of the information that are within this 8 variable can be compressed into a 2 dimension, only lost less than 10% of the information. Okay? And in this chart, you can see what? You can see these 3 brands, they are similar in customers' perspective. Okay? And these 2 brands, they are quite different. Right? Isn't it? Right? So from this chart, usually we would call it conceptual map, because every point is a brand, right? And then this is the brand image aspect of our interest. Okay. So in this chart, you can see a lot of things. First of all, the similarity across the brand. Okay, these 3 brands are quite similar. These 2 brands are particular, have some spatial meanings, right? So this is the first thing you know. Okay, and the second thing you know is that you can see the correlation among this variable. The brand who has a higher image usually will have a higher awareness, right? And these 2 variables have a higher correlation. The angle is, the smaller the angle, the higher the correlation these 2 variables are. Okay? So first of all, you can see the similarity among the brand. The second thing, you can see the correlation among the variables. Okay? And most importantly, you can see that every brand has a different position in customers' perspective, right? Okay. And what's important is not this is if this is our brand, right? Okay. This is our current position, right? So this is our competitor's position. Okay. So knowing the current position is one thing, but this is not a strategy. This is the status now. This is the status quo. Okay. The important thing of conceptual chart is not to tell where you are. It's to help you determine where you want to go. Right? Where you want to go, when we say strategy, we mean that this is where we are, but where we want to go. Okay? Do we want to go this way so we can compete with Starbucks? Right? Okay? Or do we want to go we definitely don't want to go this way, right? Because that would dilute our strengths, right? This is our strength, and this is our weakness. Okay? So this brand is not very strong yet, right? So where you want to go is you may want to improve your brand. You may want to improve your variety, right? So that you might not want to compete with Starbucks, right? Because it is too strong, isn't it? Right? So how can you come with this strategy? by looking at the data, right? But if you look at the data in this way, it's very difficult for you to understand where you are. Okay? Not to mention about where you want to go. Okay? And the spirit of business analytic is, let's go back to our campaign, right? Is to do data-driven strategic planning. Okay? And when you want to do this data-driven strategic planning, and if you look at the data like this, it's really, really difficult for you to make decisions, isn't it? Right? You need to do the analysis, and you need to communicate your finding with visualization, right? So that you can see the difference, see your position, and determine where you want to go, isn't it? Same thing. Oh, this is very okay. Same thing is here. Okay. Our group competition is more like this one, right? It's more like this one. Okay. When you set your focus, okay, if you can set the focus on customer behavior, on customer preference, okay, if I give you a data like this one, it's very, very difficult for you to imagine how to you can not even name them, right? Not to mention you want to set a specific, you want to design a specific marketing scheme for them. But when you see it this way, right? When you analyze the data, visualize the data, you can communicate your idea. Don't forget that I want you to treat yourself as a marketing manager, right? When you want to talk to your boss, you don't want to take you don't want to present this thing to your boss, right? Your boss will say, "What are you talking about?" Will not understand you, right? So with the notebook Tafan 1, 2, 3, 4 that I prepared for you, actually I would suggest you that because you do not have too much time, right? You can skip the Tafan 1 and simply use the preparation that I do for you, right? Okay? And focus on Tafan 2, 3, and 4 and do analysis on customer group, on customer characteristic, on product, on the profitability, on the margin of the product, right? And the best that you can do is that you want to correlate customer and product. You know the customer group characteristic, and you know their preference, and you know their potential to growth, right? So if you can do the exploration well, and if you can present your finding clearly like this, and you can design your strategy better, then you will have a higher score, okay? Well, I used to like press the price in. For example, I'll put like 4,000 here, 2,000 here, and like 1,000 here. Right? But because this class is smaller, right? And if we have prize for the first three group, the fourth place would be very, very frustrated. Right? So I kind of like even the price. So the next thing that I want to say is that data analysis, especially business data analysis, is fun, right? If you can do it and you can do it right, I wish that you can enjoy the process, right? Of when you prepare your midterm, okay? I know that this is not an easy course. The content is like quite heavy, but it's also interesting. Okay, so don't forget the fun. Okay, so I will see you next week, and with your presentation. Okay. Any question? So we do not have homework. It's just next week is your midterm, okay? But you need to upload your video and material in advance, okay? Okay, so if no question, just see you next week, okay?